Right. Go on.
Baby girl. And I've been excited for tonight. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for having me on. I I I love it when we converse and especially when we talk about such topics because we are both very passionate. Um just we're both passionate about our healing and we're also very passionate about sharing it. So I love the energy. So thank you. So and welcome everyone.
Welcome, everyone.
And joining us in this topic of uh exploring our inner selves and how we feel and are we being okay with the inner self. I've been
Yeah.
thinking about that this week.
Yeah.
I was thinking about what the balance that's required. You always have to be thinking about your balance.
But but I'm gonna ignore that. That's just how it goes. But welcome, everyone. I'm so glad to have you here. Um, and thank you, Hilda, for being here. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Susie. Welcome, beautiful ladies. Um, I'm hearing my echo. But so today's live, I'm joining with Hilda because I think, like she said, I really enjoy exploring different topics that we're passionate about. And I think I keep talking about these topics all the time on my channel and Hilda as well. Um, and by the way, Hilda's channel is Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia's Organic to the Land Stories. I made some notes, so just to stay contained. And so go check her out. She's amazing. So today's topic is about feeling good in your body and why is it important? And the muse of today's topic is Killdeer bird. I did not know this bird. Did you know this bird? I saw the videos. So this particular. So yeah, I'm gonna share that. So the killdeer bird is very, how do I say it? It's quite a bold bird. It has its flair. It is very protective about what matters to that bird and um how it's very protective of its boundaries as well. Uh has a very loud voice. Hi Susie. His eyes frozen. Hi TC Abanel. Welcome. So you did. So it's a perfect symbol of what we're talking about. It's about embodying confidence, embodying self-worth in ourselves, um, showing up fully, showing up weird. We're not trying we perfection is not a thing actually. So it's just being real. And I think that's where our flair comes from, our uniqueness, all of us, right? Um, and so that's the bird, right? It's distracting me. Is it? Yes. Yeah, it is. I think that anybody who the ways in which we own ourselves, the way we dress up, the way we speak, that's just our flair, right? And owning it and like flaunting it, I think. And how it helps us is the agenda of today. The ways, different ways in which own ourselves, our physical presence, and the different ways, and it can be so different for each one of us, and I will definitely would love to hear from everyone in the chat as well. Hi
Yeah.
Moon, welcome.
Hi,
Moon.
Moon.
Moon is my new
Moon
friend.
Rain.
She's amazing.
She's your what?
Yes. She's my new friend, and it's not been long that I know her.
Hello, Moon.
She's
Hello, Susie. I can see or
oh,
hear Hilda. I can't. You can't hear me.
oh.
Okay, but you
Guys,
can
do
hear me.
tell us, can you see or hear us?
Okay. Um.
Okay,
Maybe.
okay.
Oh. Okay. You can see and hear us. Okay. Good. We can see and hear you both. Okay. Good. 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 Maybe there's something wrong on your side, Susie. And yes. Yes. Okay. Susie says yes. Okay. We're back.
Important. Take a deep breath, pull all your energy from all time, places, people where we have given our energy away, pull it all back to yourself, all of your energy in this moment, which is perfection. Isn't it delicious? Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay, so let's begin. So I created some questions and please feel free to join in. So, Hilda, what does feeling good mean to you in your body? Because that's what we're talking about today. What do you think of when you think about feeling good in your body?
Health wise, feeling good is important. Like, and what do I mean by that? I mean like uh, my energy, having enough energy, and sometimes I struggle with that. I struggle with my balance, of I guess, which would also bring me to the point of like my weight going up and down, and when it's small, when I'm on my lower side, I have more energy. I'm moving more. So I'm 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 s- i'm struggling a little bit like that in terms of right now, but the ways that I continue to nurture that is, you know what? I just keep moving. And I realize that, you know what? I just be more mindful, and everything I do, I know it's because I do a lot of movement in that around here. I just I have to be more intentional about it. You know what I mean? Whereas before, with less weight, I could be floating around here. You know what I mean? So, and that, and how does that manifest itself on the outside? Like today, I made it a point of doing a little bit extra. I put on makeup today. I because I was a little bit tired. It was listen, what's going on with the planets? Being aligned and all of that, I'm telling you, it has had an effect. It's so I'm going with it. You know what I mean? So, but I had to put the extra in today because you know what, I was a little bit groggy, but things worked out, and look, I knew we had tonight's live, and I put the extra in with the, like I said, the makeup for me, and I also chose
Yeah.
my color, coordinated the color today. So
Aw,
that's
and
how
you
I
look
feel. That's how I
adorable.
put it
You
in,
look
right?
beautiful.
See? See? And I love these earrings. These earrings. Now here I am going to be critiquing myself here. But no, I do love these. Are a gift from my sister, Susie. But I keep wearing them all the time. So everything's got to match the earrings. So 'cause it makes me feel good, right? So that's how I nurture a part of me, you know.
Bodies look and how it adds to our confidence. And it can look different for everyone, right? Not the society standards of being thin and being this size, and that, but like really seeing what is comfortable for you, right? And then, yeah, no, it's okay. Um, and showing up, even if you're feeling a bit off, you chose to show up
Right.
looking like this because it's really helps. It does, right? Like I wore it, like that's my way too. Like wearing, no matter what I do, I will dress up every single day like
Mhm.
this. It's not like
Mhm.
just for YouTube. No, I
Right.
just that's just who I am because it's like this is our 24/7 life,
Yeah.
right? And if you need to look beautiful for yourself first, right? Um, and I think it does add up to our overall morale, right? It's like little things. It can be so different for everyone. So I'm glad you brought it up. So let me look in the chat if anyone else answered. I see Susie saying for me, feeling confident, how I look, how I feel physically, energy and health wise. Absolutely. I think health is a major factor that contributes to our overall self-worth, right? So yes,
Comfortability is being familiar with what your comfortability is, and that's the way it is with me. And it's like all the gauges, because it all is so interconnected in terms of what we eat, being more cognizant about what we eat, and then there's an effect when you know what I get off track, and then have to put myself back on track. So it's because there is a difference. It with the inside, because we're talking about a balancing things up, just on a, let's just say, from a chakra level. But that's not counting
mm,
about how your innards feel when you're
yes,
injecting, and how it
yes,
has a reflection on the outside. And sometimes you just fake it until you make it too, right? Until you get there, right?
be, but then does not mean you can feel beautiful in this moment, you know? And I know it's much more nuanced for different types of people, right? But I think it's a good point to see what makes us feel good within our body, health wise. And then also, like physically, I think it does impact the way we show up in the world and how other people perceive us too, right? Uh, it's interesting. I know we can say it's superficial, but I think that that's the thing. Like, if you see, for example, I saw leopards on a safari in India, and when you see them up close, they demand a presence because the way they look, the way they walk, it's the whole thing. It's a whole package, right? Um, I think our physical presence does have an impact, right? And yeah. Yes,
From inward, wherever you are at, because I will say this, that it is a mental journey. It is a mental journey, and that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yes.
to then change that conditioning of being like, hey, see what you can handle, what looks good to you. And beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, right? As we say. So absolutely. So let's see the chat ones. Hi Alana, welcome.
Yeah. Um, I'm not sure what she means there. But if she's talking about, what the wrinkles that uh define, that's the whole aging thing. Let's just talk about that one right there. And no, because that's another thing. Like, what, that trip in the mirror. Sometimes, what, we can disassociate through the process of this whole life, that we're not really looking in the mirror. We're not really looking in the mirror, but the process is happening because we're too busy. When we look, we say, oh my God, and we keep looking away. We keep looking away. And it's not until you look back in the mirror and say, you know what? All is good. All is good.
Ourselves, nice or bad things, really do make an impact on how we feel. Oh, I see. I think it's like, like when we are frowning, that's how the world seems. And it's like, it's like when we look at ourselves in the mirror, I think that's what I think she's saying. It's like the mind and the body talk to each other, right? If we are sad or we make a sad face, that's how the world seems. And it's almost like we are mirroring what we want from external. Because if it's from inside, it's imposed from internal, like from inside. You can also do it the other way, right? Because the world is a mirror. So it's a really good point, Moon. I love that. It's almost like that. It's like if we want something manifested, we do that for ourselves and we make ourselves feel like that rather than you be you be the change you gotta see. I love that. The body is always listening to the mind and vice versa. Exactly. That's true. Hmm. Okay. This was good. Oh no, you don't. You don't. Because I told you right, there's a lag going on, so I'm still hearing our previous conversations. Yeah, it's okay. So it's just technical difficulties on my phone. So next question I was thinking about was like, I think we kind of touched it already. Like what have you noticed about the connection between embodiment and confidence, especially in your own journey and the stories that you share, right? Like ancestral and like the kind of that theme. What do you think? Yeah. The wisdom that you share. Yeah. Oh,
We do change, and things do change. Like, I started out with a full head of hair, and was able to do many, many, many different things. And I'm going there. I'm going right there because here's and it's if anyone that's followed me knows that I suffer from hair loss. And so therefore, you know what? Um I'm working on the process of bringing my hair back, but that whole journey and acceptance was a journey in something that, you know what, talking about looking in the mirror, not wanting to look in the mirror, and it was many times I didn't. There was a period I didn't look in the mirror, but the journey back, looking in the mirror, accepting where I was at that moment, walking out and knowing that and facing uh, the world in my natural hair, but significant hair loss. Okay. Because I'm choosing at this particular moment because I've been, up to that point, I've been wearing wigs, wigs, wigs. Okay. And I said, no more, no more wigs at that particular point. And if I put on a wig, it will be because I want to put on the wig. It won't be because of the issue of the hair. So it was a whole process, though, to get there. And if, because I know that there's lots of women who suffer from hair loss, but talking about the inner self and how that affects, and how do you how do you line up that balance so that you're not ingesting it as something negative and turning it into something that is positive so that it's not killing you from the inside? So being balanced with it on the outside, taking your brain, but because you know what, you can say that, but you got to line that shit up on the inside too, you know? Okay. And that's where your strength, your character, and keep going out there and keep facing the world as who you are and going through that awkward stage. And you get what I'm saying? Right? Because today, me wearing a wig, me choosing to wear the wig today is by a choice. Me choosing to wear the wig today. Because that's just another part of the makeup, jewelry, extend extension of self, right?
So I was in a super like the um let's just say workaholic phase, and I lost most of my hair, and it was like a major shock for me because I love my hair. I have never cut my hair. Like that's just how much I love it. And I was so shocked. And when you said you can look yourself in the mirror, it was hard for me to see myself. I was growing a mustache, like it was a whole thing. And I was like, okay, I need to rethink everything. You know, the way I'm operating, the way I'm living. It's like, okay, like this, okay, people? And I'm carrying it. So you gotta see it too. It's like, it's hard. It's because we are so illusioned and somewhat in our society to just see people perfectly and just always put together. And if someone just shows up and going through issues and for the right reasons, it's uncomfortable for many people to accept that. And we also start projecting in the worst cases. Like, it's a thing in my community. Like, they'll be like, if you got a zit, they'll be like, "Oh, you got a zit." I'm like, "I saw it." Okay, just point it out. They'll make you feel more conscious. But I think
Listening on what other people are thinking, looking on what it looks like on the outside. You're not taking that trip on the inside, right?
about this particular question because how did you get into that embodied confidence? Because one is confidence where you're like, I want to look good for other people. And then there comes a point for whatever situation, and then you turn it inwards and you're like, okay, this is what I like. This is how I want to walk. This is how I want to show up. Okay. And this is, you know, I think there's a turning point in everyone's life when it's like, okay, enough. You know?
I know they're looking at me. I know they see how beautiful I am. Yes, that's the way it flips. Absolutely, that's the way she flips. Yeah.
right? I don't know if you have faced it or people in the chat have faced it. In my community, this is a major issue. If you look good or if you're doing good, people are jealous, and you start like keeping yourself small because. And then I had to learn. I was like, okay, I don't need anybody from this community because I cannot be myself here, right? And that's another thing why people don't choose to be confident or embrace their uniqueness because people around them are like, no, you can't be that. Or people around, it's just interesting. I don't know what you think, but
They have a choice to
yeah,
uh, uh, dress up. I like what you said. I have my flavor days. What does the flavor of the day call? It calls for color. Maybe it calls for a little risque, because that's all the parts of my personality. And I show up. And I'm not wondering about, what other people are going to think. Where most of the people are, well, they would only dress for a certain occasion. So they can look at you being risque and threatened because you know what uh, you're not afraid to be in your moment and be you. Just be you. And if that means, you know what, I'm choosing to wear this today and it's on the dressed up side. Well, I just, you know what, I tell you what, when I say dressed up, you just chose to put yourself
right,
together and put some thought into it. And it instead of your clothes wearing you, you wear the clothes, and people notice that. And
right,
some people can get threatened by that if you choose to, because they're
yeah,
not looking at themselves that way. They don't mind going to the store in house slippers. They don't mind
right.
showing up in yoga pants every day, you know? Well, yoga pants is fine one day, but you know what? Yoga pants isn't good every day. Not for me. It gets
Well,
boring.
that's a good observation.
Yeah.
Um, I want to first read the comments so I don't miss that loop. Hair loss is Susie says hair loss is dominant in our family. All of me
Mm,
being able to go from weave braids and wig to now being able to wear a wrap, took putting in the healing work and learning to love myself. That is
mm.
powerful.
That's right.
That is powerful.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. Age has a lot to do with how you feel about how others view us. At 16 is different now that I'm in my. I think that is true. Now that I think about it, when I was younger, yeah, when I was younger, I had a lot of like, like the self perceiving issues, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
I went through that mode where it was like, what is other people thinking about me? Or like this, that. And then it was so tiring to the point where I was like, okay, I can't. I realized that very quickly when it gets tiring, I
You
think, compared
know,
to other people.
I'm going to tell you, it was probably in my 40s I started to not give a fuck. And that's really what it starts to be. By the
I
time
think
you hit
so.
50, you really don't give a
I know.
beep. And what do I
Mm,
mean by that? You speak to any 50-year-old woman, by the time she reached 50, she has been through enough caca, enough learning experience of giving
right.
to others and all of that, trying to fit into spaces and fit into rooms and whatever else, contort herself to whatever, that she's figured it out. That you know what? If you just be you, that's the best gift you can give yourself. That's when you have your best time. And at the end of the day, most of the time when you're really worrying about what other people think, people really ain't thinking about you. It's your perception and worrying about
Oh, that's
everybody else.
true.
You know? Seriously. When you realize that, and so what did they do? And when also, like, you know what? Oh my God! Like, you know, my pants split, and a whole bunch of people saw my underwear. Who cares? Who cares? You're not going to die. The most you're going to have is the most laughable moment. You get to that point. You get. I was given that as an example, right? Because
I think it's also a point where we have almost started to go in our retirement age and where we almost have a choice, I think, to not be around certain people. I think it's an interesting age, I'll say. Um, and it gives you a lot more freedom than to make the choices you want to make. But that said, you can also do that before. It just, it takes some type of inner work to get there. But absolutely doable because it's the same energy, right? Um, you can choose to keep it externalized or you can choose to reclaim it, right? Um, so absolutely, I agree. Okay, right.
is taking the hit for that one because it hits you right in your guts, and it's you're not uh because you haven't honored yourself. You know, especially when you when you're letting it affect you. You know, and it's affecting your decision, and that
So Alana is saying, is laughing on your usage of words, risky. Um, it
the statement that most of women our age. That's the freeing statement. I won't say it because it's your channel. On my lips are. Yeah, I promise I'll keep my vulgarity to no, no, no. But we don't give up.
because I think that it just comes with a lot more challenges now than it used to be before. It's pushing us to, I think, mature faster is how I feel. Um, so Moon is saying, what a journey. Yeah, it's just different times. Um, Moon is saying, what a journey, Susie. It takes real strength to heal. It does. It's a long journey. So 100%. At least you were wearing underwear. Yes, Susie. That is quite a journey. Okay, you're very beautiful. Uh yes. Um, okay, good one. Okay, next question I had was like, has there ever been a moment, and please everyone in the chat as well, would love to hear from you. Has there ever been a moment in your life when your body knew something before your mind did, right? Or like, yeah, like body-based wisdom. Okay, now, well, you can say it. I think there are adults here. I'm sure.
I was repelled by him. My body knew it. He was talking, and I was thinking, "Don't touch me." Yes. So yes, my body did speak to me, just as much as it has spoke to me the opposite way too. You want that? Yes. Repel. Yeah. Yeah.
Way. There's just too much garbage. But our bodies know. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's way straightforward.
But folks, I don't know where that came from, but you know what? When she first asked that question, that's exactly where my mind went. Yes, absolutely. No. So,
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is it glitching? People, please tell us. The video is glitchy, it seems. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
yeah. Yes, I'll hold it. I'll hold the ship down. You, thank you for the feedback there, Elena. We don't want it glitching because you will have missed some good uh, on the road humor, comedy. No comedy. Oh, seriously? Well, we don't want to do that then, do we? No, we don't want to lose them. We don't want to lose them. You want me to go over, come back in? Okay, because you know what? It's your show. We can't have you gone. Okay, what do I do? I just press it. I press the X and to get out, right?
So it's saying, do you guys relate body-based wisdom with intuition? I had a okay. Hey,
Okay, how is it now?
how's it now, guys?
Well, better. Oh, it's better. Moon says it's better. Moon Rain. I like that name. What is your name, Moon Rain? Is it Moon? You know what I know. So you know what November. Listen, Nove's Eve. Her name is November. I'm saying, what is your name? What is your name? She said it's November. Hi, Moon. I like Moon. Yeah. Is it your internet, Susie? Are you having a thunderstorm or anything like that down there? Is it your weather? Because we're here in the middle.
Someone was hiding in my sister's closet and it turned true, but I was so afraid to open the closet door. I think I think it is true. I think what we call intuition is very body based because we feel it in our gut. That's how I see it. Um, it's not loud like the mind, but it is loud viscerally. I think you can feel it. That's why we get shivers. I think is when it's like when we get epiphany, we're like, oh wow, okay. Um, Alana missed the joke. She wants to laugh too. Sorry, Alana.
to keep us on the up and up.
This is sad. Okay. Ravneet is frozen for me right now. Oh my goodness. Should I restart the thing? I can do that. Hi, Maritis. I think we're gonna rejoin. There's some technical issues, but we don't want to. We don't want other people to miss our conversation. Okay, we're gonna do that. Let's rejoin. Okay.